We continue with our special coverage of events unfolding in Syria. After 13 years of civil war, the opposition forces have declared the end of President Bashar al-Assad's rule. The opposition said Assad, who was leader for 24 years, has left the capital, Damascus. It comes just hours after fighters entered the capital and said they'd taken over the city's airport and the state TV building. The opposition is expected to broadcast their first statement to Syrians on state TV. Syria's Prime Minister said his government's ready to hand over power to any leadership chosen by the people.
I'm
here at home. I am not leaving, and I don't intend to leave. I expect in a peaceful manner to guarantee the continuity of the public authorities and the institutions and state apparatus, and to guarantee the safety and security for all citizens. And we are extending our hands even to the opposition, who extend their hands and gave assurances they will not cause any harm to any citizens who belong to this Syria of ours.
Well, moments before opposition fighters took control of the airport, open-source flight trackers recorded a single plane in Syria's airspace. An Ilyushin 76 aircraft with flight number Syrian Air 9218 was the last flight to take off from Damascus. First it flew east, then it turned north. Well, joining me now is Sawsan Abou Zainedin, the Chief Executive Officer of Madaniya, a Syrian-led civil society organisation. Sawsan, good to have you with us. First of all, you're Syrian, you were born there. Give us your thoughts on the events which unfolded on our screens dramatically overnight. I mean, this has been happening for about a week, this rebel offensive, but suddenly, in the last 12 hours or so, everything changed. What are your thoughts?
Everything has significantly changed. It's an overwhelming sense of joy, of overdue justice that Syrians are feeling everywhere around the world. I doubt Syrians have slept a minute last night, including myself, all of my friends. It is indeed an overdue sense of justice for the Syrian people who have been wronged for decades by the Syrian regime. Today is a day for us to celebrate our tremendous efforts until getting to this very point, but it's also a day to mourn our losses, our loved ones that we've lost throughout this struggle. And tomorrow, it's a new beginning. Tomorrow, we have to get back to work because we have a state to build.
Absolutely. I mean, earlier we were talking to some very emotional Syrians on the Lebanese-Syrian border. What do these events mean to you personally, Sawsan?
I've left Syria 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago, after being in so many demonstrations. It is definitely the beginning of a change for me. I can finally see myself going back, doing what I've been doing for the past 10 years, but from inside Syria. As I said, we do have a state to build. Today marks only the beginning. The Assad regime is over, but we still need to build a state of citizenship, a state that does not give reassurance for minorities, but actually a state that grants citizenship rights to everyone. And that's a very hard job to do. That needs the efforts of every single Syrian.
And after 24 years of Bashar al-Assad's rule, 13 years of civil war, I mean, how relieved are people, particularly the millions of Syrians who fled all over the world in terms of trying to get away from the civil war, etc.?
As I said, it's definitely the beginning of a brighter future. If we put our efforts into that, it's time for us Syrians to work so that the future is bright ahead of us. It's finally justice, but it's a very long path to actually have accountability in place, build state institutions, and ensure that the state upholds citizenship right to everyone.
You're the Chief Executive Officer of Madaniya, that's a Syrian-led civil society organisation. How do you see that group fitting in? What will you be doing, or your group be doing, into the new Syria?
Madaniya is an umbrella organization of over 200 Syrian civil society organizations operating in every region inside Syria and in the diaspora, including organizations who have operated in regime-held areas during the time of Assad. Indeed, it's time now to ensure that state institutions are functional. We as civil society have taken on different roles to fill in the vacuum after the withdrawal of the Assad regime from certain areas. areas. It's time that we reclaim our traditional role as civil society now to hold whatever government comes into place accountable to us, to the Syrian people, and to ensure that the states represent the values that we stood for 14 years ago in 2011.
How important, Sawsan, is the issue of governance and I guess the reimposition of effective state institutions? And give us some examples of what needs to be reinstated to work properly.
It's fundamentally important. It is the only guarantor for a peaceful transition in this very critical time of our lives. We have safety issues, we have health issues, we have the service provision across all sectors. All of this needs tremendous efforts. It's fundamental that we work through the existing state institutions. We are hopeful that the process of the transition will actually maintain the state institutions. This is what we've seen so far. These are the promises, the local cadres, the local communities, their participation. It's absolutely fundamental. All of this is our only guarantor that order will be maintained. The creation of inclusive, participatory, civic governance in every region and every locality inside Syria until there is an inclusive governance body that could rule on the national scale.
Yeah, and you were talking about Madaniya working outside of the country.
And inside the country.
Yeah. What were you doing outside the country?
We were trying to assert our rightful role to shape the political future of Syria. Our lobbying was mostly to ensure that there is a political transition according to Security Council Resolution 2254. We still have to work on, we are now entering the day after, and there's a lot to do when it comes to the day after. This is what we've been doing outside the country, while our member organizations inside the country have done a variety of work, from service provision and aid provision all the way to accountability, justice, but also working on human rights issues and empowerment of the people in need.
Sawsan, it's been fascinating talking to you. Let me get a final thought from you before you go. I mean, many of our guests this morning have been talking to us about the opposition. How important is it in terms of the need for them to unite to help to rebuild Syria so that organisations like yours can work effectively?
It's absolutely fundamental. If we are to secure the state of citizenship that we want, it needs to be inclusive. It needs to account for the rights and needs of all the communities inside Syria. As I said, it's not a matter of giving reassurances of people. It's a matter of making sure that we build a state that upholds citizenship right to everyone, and that needs to engage every single Syrian with the participation of civil society, civic actors, local communities in every single region, from the east to the west, from the south to the north.
Sawsan Abou Zainedin, it's been really fascinating talking to you, Sawsan. Good luck when you get back to Syria. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel, get the latest news from Al Jazeera.